Welcome back again to a special holiday edition of This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey, where we dispense with all the normal business activities and just talk about the holiday tournaments that are going on in Wisconsin, in Minnesota, in Michigan, wherever Wisconsin teams are playing. And we have with us tonight Bill Jr., we have Del Scanlon, MJ is on other duties today. And we also have a special guest, Tony Menard from Chippewa Falls, Menomonie Sabers. And we're going to start talking about the holiday tournaments with that particular tournament, which has a very catchy title to the Wisconsin Prep Hockey Girls Holiday Classic. So it looks like you've got a good slate of teams. The thing I'm curious about is how this is going to play out, having the first and second round of games on the same day. Doesn't happen often that the girls play two games in one day.
Yeah, typically, so this in the years past, this tournament, we've kind of just had a round robin tournament. It's usually been 6 teams. And I think 2 years ago, before the pandemic, the year before the pandemic, we tried to add 8 teams into the tournament. And we've really enjoyed having that 8-team tournament. We kind of did a point system that year to try to find a way to, get a champion that year. And after talking with all the coaches in the tournament, we decided that we wanted to have a real bracket type setup moving forward. And so this year, with it being in Chippewa Falls, we have the 2 sheets of ice, which will work out well because we'll have some varsity games, the normal 8 bracket, team bracket, and then we'll also have some JV games for the teams that have those numbers and then are able to support it. So it's going to be a really good thing. I know we typically tried to have this over just 2 days instead of 3 days. So that's kind of where we get caught into having the 2 games there on that first day and try to make it a little easier on the second day so teams can start getting back home a little bit earlier. But for the first couple of years, it's been working out really well, and we're really excited and very excited for you guys to jump on board with this and kind of be the name of the tournament. I know we've been, when we went to the 18 bracket, we really wanted to figure out a name for this, and I think it kind of came up with some of the coaches down in Madison a couple years ago on how or who we're trying to figure out how we can better promote this tournament. And there's not a better way to promote it than to have you guys on board and talk about it and get these girls some good airtime hopefully over this week on how good this tournament's going to be.
It looks like you've got a good mix geographically. You've got Chippewa Falls, Menomonie, Eau Claire, and Black River Falls from the western side of the state. Bay Area, the Warbirds and Fox Cities from the east, Rock County from down south, and Hayward from up north. As you guys were expanding from 6 to 8, was that a conscious thing you looked at? And how many of these teams are the ones that are coming back every year?
Yeah, so originally started with, I want to say Eau Claire, ourselves, and who was it at that time? So I know on the other side, it's always usually been Fond du Lac, Green Bay, and Fox Cities. So then we kind of added Rock County in there. We also added Hayward in there. So it was Black River usually in there as well. So we tried, it was really set up as kind of an East versus West type situation before. And when we went to 8 teams, we reached out to some of the other teams that were pretty close to where it would make sense for them to join in this tournament. And, now we're at that 8-team tournament, and it's going to be a really good couple days in Chippewa this year where I think every game is going to be competitive. And I think every team is going into it thinking they have an opportunity to win. There's not any matchup that I see that, one team's going to be heavily favored over the other, just looking at how the first half of the season's gone so far.
Yeah, I see you. It does look like you have the East versus West thing again with Black River Falls playing Bay Area. Well, I guess you'd have to, I mean, if you can count Rock County as East, it's kind of in the middle, but it was Southeast, whatever. It looks like a good mix again.
Yeah, when you look at it, you have, us, Fox Cities, who won state 2 years in a row. You got Eau Claire in there. So you got some teams that been in the mix come playoff time, come state tournament time the last couple of years. And as coaches going into the tournament, you want to be playing good hockey coming out of the tournament. You really kind of get a good sense of where your team's at during your holiday tournament, and really go, is it going to help propel you forward in January when you're trying to build your resume up for the playoffs, or is it kind of going to be that one piece where it kind of, kind of crumbles the team a little bit, and it's tough to get the momentum going the rest of the year.
Tony, before we came on, we talked a little bit about how the goalie strength is improved this year and how it's kind of dominated a little bit. In looking at this, I can see, a few of these teams that have some extremely good goalies. Do you want to talk a little bit about the goaltending you expect to see in this tournament?
Yeah, I don't expect to see a lot of high scoring games. When you look at some of these teams and just their goal allow average across their first half of the season, a lot of teams are under 2 or under 3 goals allowed a game. So that you're not giving up a lot of opportunities. So when you get your chances, when you have those chances against these good goalies, you got to capitalize, or else, especially in a tournament, when a goalie's starting to feel good and they're on the ice, for a game, 2 games, it really can make a difference with, how their team responds. And, if they're in the right, if they're feeling themselves, they can really make and change how the tournament's going to go. So expect to see it, probably 1 or 2 of these goalies to play really well and carry their team, and, help them get a win where, you might not think otherwise.
As a coach, when you've come up and you're coaching against a hot goalie, one that's on a real roll, how do you get your players to focus to look for that one goal that might be the difference in the game?
You just got to keep, focusing on what you control, stay in your lane as much as you possibly can, and work as a team to get those quality opportunities to the net. Make sure you have girls crashing for rebounds. Oftentimes on good goalies, you got to make sure you're there for the rebounds, because that's the goals that they're going to give up. A lot of these goalies that we're going to see are going to make those first saves, put the puck in the corner, put them in smart areas where their defense can get them out of trouble. So you really have to have good pressure in front of them and get them uncomfortable. So, try to start low, get the goalies working down low as much as you can, to where they have to get back up and down, to really, over, 3 games in 2 days, that's the 3rd game on day 2. If a goalie's been playing already, 102 minutes the day before, they're going to be pretty fatigued if they've been seeing a lot of shots. So, you just got to keep working, keep staying the course on your game plan. And, eventually, if you keep doing that, you're going to get a lucky bounce, hopefully, at some point.
Now, one of my favorite comments from way back when I was doing the radio, still for the Anago games, and Bill Thorson was a coach. Ryan Leonard had a really hot goalie named Dane Miller, and we asked Coach Thorson about it, and he said, "Well, I think he beat us last year. Whenever he goes down for the puck, either Miller or the puck will end up in the back of the net." You don't do that sort of thing at girls hockey, do you?
No. Try to keep it as clean as possible. But no, I mean, you want your girls to get to the front of the net as tough as it can be, especially in girls hockey. There's not as much physical play in front that's allowed as there is in boys hockey. So, when you get in front, you got to find a way to keep your stick on the ice and just be able to capitalize if that puck comes out to you. But, typically what we've seen this year, the refs have been allowing, teams to, be aggressive in front of the net, as long as it's, staying clean and, there's nothing, outrageous happening in front. It's been pretty good so far this year.
With holiday tournaments is probably the only time most teams will play 3 games in 3 days over the course of the season, unless they make it in years past to state. Not anymore, but that would be the only time teams play 3 games in 3 days. Now you're doing 3 games in 2 days. What do you have to impress upon your kids so that they come back out on Wednesday and they still have legs?
Well, as a coach, it's, we got to make sure we try to use our three lines as much as we possibly can. There's been in years past where we've been two lines deep and you just have nothing left on the second day. And so as a coach, you got to, make sure that you're telling the girls to keep short shifts. As a coach, it's, make sure that you're, when the whistle's blown, they've been out there 30 seconds and you just got to change them. You don't want to try to get that extra matchup or whatnot and keep them out there where they're getting a long shift and getting winded. And that comes into play. And typically if you have two goalies, this is an opportunity where you get your backup a chance to show what they can do and get them some ice time so that you can be competitive, in that second or third game on the second day. And, in years past for us, we've been able to do that. We got one goalie this year right now. And, Cassie's been playing really well for us as stepping in as a sophomore. We had a really, really good goalie in Caroline last year that took up a lot of time. And so, it's going to be for Cassie and other goalies that are in that situation. They got to play smart hockey, take whistles when they can, have an opportunity to slow the game down, and just really try to do all those little things throughout the game. Getting the puck deep when you can, or getting an icing. Whistles are going to be your friend in a tournament. And in girls hockey, you just don't see enough whistles at times. And that's why the games seem to go a little bit quicker than boys games is, boys have more icings, more offsides, that type of stuff where, hopefully, the girls start getting a feel for that to slow the game down just so that we're able to have those legs there on the second day.
Coach, coming into the season, you guys are the defending state champions. A lot of times, players have a tendency to remember that they're the defending state champions and rest on their laurels. Looking at the games you guys have played this year, you played some close games and everything, but how hard was it to get them to buy in right off the bat? This is the season. Everybody's got us in their bullseye because we are the defending state champs. It's going to be that much harder for us to have a chance to repeat.
Yeah, it's definitely a new situation for our team coming into the season where we're going into games and people are aware of what we have on our team. They're aware of the ability that we have as a program now. And in years past, even last year in the state championship game, I don't think a lot of teams knew of us or knew what we had for ability, and we could fly under the radar. And that it's a lot easier to do that than coming into a game where teams know you, teams are coming for you, teams are trying to bring their best game every time you line up against them. And early on in the season, it was definitely a different approach or we saw a different level in opponents early on than what we were ready for compared to last year. And as the season has gone on, our last three games, we played really well. Went up to Hayward, had a good game. We ended up getting outshot, but we ended up coming out with a win. And that's a tough place to get a win. I don't think as a program, we have not won in Hayward in 10 years. So finding those little things in our program that we can build on and continue to grow, it kind of gives this team, this group of girls, something to, really look forward to. We got our first win in 8 years against Eau Claire this year. So those little moments throughout the season, especially early on, allows this team to create their own identity and try to pull apart from what the team was last year. And as that happens, as we progress through that, and it's allowing them to get more comfortable with themselves and their teammates and who we want to be as a team this year. So it's definitely been a challenge. There's been a lot of talking with the coaches and the players after practices, after games, on how, we want to approach things day in, day out. And it's been frustrating at times. I know girls have been frustrated with just, where they feel like they should be and where we've been so far. And, but we've been able to get better each and every week. And that's what we want to be doing right now heading into January.
You are a game ahead of where you were at this point last year. You're 5-3. Last year at this point, you were 4-3-1. So you are, I guess, one goal ahead of where you were last year, because that tie could have just made it 5-3. But and you've played a lot of the same teams over that span. Because you guys actually have a conference. So How do you feel about your team this year? Obviously, you lost your top two scorers in Sydney Polzing and Ella Osman, but you guys are still hanging in there.
Yeah, I really, we just had a conversation in the locker room today. When we look at where the conference and the sectional is right now that it's kind of changed with Black River and Unalaska coming in, it's a sectional where I think anybody can win any given day. And it was kind of like that last year, that our whole section is going to take turns playing good against each other. And so it really is going to come down to, pick a hat when the sectional seedings come out, and we'll figure out who's going to have home ice, and you just got to play good hockey then. But as far as our team, I'm really liking how girls are starting to come into their own. I know, some girls are starting to kind of figure out how to lead on the ice, where, last couple of years, it was pretty easy to, pass to Ella or pass it to Sydney and, have them kind of be the workhorses for us. But now, I really feel like we have a 1A and 1B type line situation. We bring back Brianna Bonacontro, Joey Schumanauer, Emmeline Stevenson, Paige Steinmetz up front. So we're really happy with the production that we're able to get from those four girls. And, we weren't expecting to come into the season having one individual score 40 points like Sydney did last year. We're taking the approach, if we can get four girls up around that 20-point range, then that's going to make up for all that lost production that we have. And it's going to take everybody to get to that point.
Anything else for Tony, guys, or should we move along?
Thanks, Tony, for coming on, and
Yeah.
Good luck the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, and
Yep.
again, thank you for jumping on for the tournament and kind of being this kind of the namesake for the tournament this year. And I'm hoping, in years to come, we can find some cool ways to maybe re-bracket or have you guys help out in the bracketing of the tournament moving forward, and kind of go from that standpoint with it. And I think it's really going to be a good tournament for all the teams involved, and definitely looking forward to seeing you guys up there tomorrow.
Yeah, be leaving at 6:30 tomorrow morning.
It's going to be early. I know Fond du Lac, I think, is leaving in the morning as well. So I talked to Coach Dwayne, and they got an early bus ride over. So
Bus
Thanks,
ride,
guys.
2 games. Oof.
Hopefully
yeah,
they
it's a
have
long
coach bus.
day. Yeah, it's going to be a long day for some of the ones that are traveling, but it's a fun tournament. It's good to see other teams throughout the state that we typically don't get to see on a regular basis when you're playing your sectional and conference teams as much as you do. And so it's nice to see all these coaches and just kind of build that bond up for all the girls coaches throughout the state. And it's going to be a good couple days. So thank you again, guys.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.
All righty. Do you want to just like switch back and forth between boys and girls, or just continue down with the girls and then go to the boys next?
Let's just continue down the girls' side.
All right. After this one, there's the Culver's Cup, which is in the Madison area. Hartmeyer and MIA.
Yep. Metro Lynx, Wisconsin Valley Union, Superior Spartans, Central Wisconsin Storm, Cap City Cougars, Lakeshore Lightning, St. Croix Valley Fusion, and Brookfield Glacier. So if you're not a ranked team in Chippewa Falls, you're probably down in Madison. Looking at our top 6 for the girls: Metro Lynx, Storm, Bay Area, Fox Cities, Western Wisconsin, and Hudson. I think Western Wisconsin wasn't in either of those tournaments. So of our
Western
ranked,
Wisconsin is
they're over in
playing
Minnesota.
over in Blaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 5 of our top 6 are in the 2 tournaments: the Wisconsin Prep Hockey Girls Holiday Classic in Chippewa Falls, or the Culver's Cup in Madison. That should be a good one. It'll give the Metro Lynx are probably, based on the way things have gone this season, going to have to play the Central Wisconsin Storm or the St. Croix Valley Fusion at some point in that tournament. And that'll be nice to see, because while they are sitting at number 1, we talked about this last week in the top 6s, their schedule has been pretty soft thus far.
Yep,
So they will be tested over the next 3 days, because they are spreading that tournament over 3 days.
Yes.
Yeah, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. The aforementioned Western Wisconsin Stars are playing in the Herb Brooks Holiday Classic at the Schwann Super Rink over in Blaine. They lost today 4-0 to River Lakes, which could be anywhere in the state of Minnesota. That name gives you no clues whatsoever.
Well, they're probably not a southern team. There's not. It's drier down there. But yeah, they're the only Wisconsin team in the girls varsity gold bracket. In the girls varsity silver bracket, the USM Wildcats are playing in that one. They also lost their opening round game today. They lost to Laverne, Minnesota, 8-1.
So who plays Shirley?
Dork.
Sorry, had to do it. And that's all we got for girls' holiday tournaments. If there's another one going on, nobody sent us the.
Hudson is playing up in the Farmington tournament. I saw that on their thing, but I don't know. We didn't get a bracket for that one at all.
Yeah, nobody sent us a bracket, and we're not clairvoyant.
When I was going through, I happened to see that they were playing up in Farmington at the Schmitz Mackey Arena, I think is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, so as usual, what usually happens around this time of year is, teams from different parts of the state see each other at these holiday tournaments, and the whole top sixes get shaken up.
Yes.
For next week. So look for some movement in the top sixes next week. And we will go to now the Monks battle for the cheeseburger. Wasn't this just a cheeseburger classic before? Now it's the battle for the cheeseburger.
It bothers me that Monroe is not in this tournament because they are the cheesemakers. They are the Monroe cheesemakers, and it's the best team name in the state. But they're not in the battle for the cheeseburger. They're the cheese. But that one's got Wisconsin Rapids and La Crescent, Minnesota, McFarland, Onalaska, Toma, Kenosha, RWD, and River Falls. That one starts tomorrow and runs for 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Just down the road a little ways from there in West Salem, they have a 2-day tournament, 4 teams. Amory versus Waunakee will play at 4:00 tomorrow, and West Salem will take on Northland Pines at 7. And then the consolation championship games will be on Wednesday.
Amory and Waunakee should be a good one. We're not doing top sixes this week. Everybody took the holiday off. But Waunakee beat Verona 5-3 last Tuesday in their only game last week. I've got to believe that would have put them in the top 6 and knocked Verona out. And then
because they're Division 1, correct?
Waunakee? They're Division. Well, they're one of the smaller schools in Division 1, but they are Division 1. That would have put them probably 6th in Division 1, and Amory was 3rd in Division 2. So a couple of ranked teams at the top of that one. That would have been a good game to check out.
In a tournament that is already going on in Antigo, Middleton beat Antigo in the 4:00 game today, 8-2. DC Everest, Dell was following this one on Live Bar, and DC Everest is beating up on Beloit, you were saying?
Yeah, I believe the final of that one was DC Everest 7, Beloit Memorial 0.
Okay, so Antigo and Beloit will be playing in the consolation game tomorrow at 12:30, and DC Everest and Middleton will be playing the championship game tomorrow at 3:00 at the Langlade County Fairgrounds. Multi-purpose building, which this time of year really only has one purpose. It's a hockey rink.
It's the Langlade County multi-purpose hockey rink for 4 months.
It looks like we move on to the Notre Dame Academy Showcase now next.
Sure.
Yeah.
And looks like our 11 a.m. game tomorrow will be Eau Claire Memorial taking on Verona. And that'll be followed by a 1:30 game of Notre Dame against Wausau West. 4:30, St. Mary Springs versus Chippewa Falls. And then at 7 o'clock, Madison Edgewood against Superior.
So yep, there's two. I don't know if Superior's Division 1 this year. I was gonna say there's two D2 teams in there, but nope. Superior's Division 1 this year. So Springs is the only Division 2 team in that tournament. And then of the other ones, like they're all good. Edgewood is ranked, Notre Dame is ranked, Memorial is ranked, Verona is ranked. Chippewa Falls plays in the best conference in the state. Wausau West is perennially a good team, so that's going to be a heck of a tournament.
Yes, and that starts tomorrow. Second round on Wednesday. Seventh place game, consolation game, third place and championship game on Thursday. I'm going to try to make it over there, depending on just how much recouping I have to do Thursday morning. I'll get over there at least for the third place game and the championship game on Thursday night. That's 4:30 and 7 o'clock. It's going to make for a long day on Thursday either way, but yeah, we'll get that. Those should be two very good games, the third place game and the championship game, and that Notre Dame showcase, formerly known as the Showdown in Titletown.
And it's taken so many different formats over the years where you
Yeah,
play your
it
first round
really
game
hasn't
elsewhere and then come in, but now it's an 18 bracketed tournament.
Now it's
place.
a bracketed tournament, which hasn't always been the case.
So it's nice to see it's less confusing. Followed up by the 2021 Culver's Cup. Just like on the girls' side, this is a split between Madison Ice Arena and Hartmeyer Ice Arena, although most of it is at MIA. Sauk Prairie and Oshkosh are in that one. Marquette and Madison Memorial, Madison West and Marshfield making a trip down, and Ashland making a long trip down in Monona Grove.
Making a short trip.
There's a lot of Big Eight. Well, Monona Grove is not in the Big Eight. They're just next door. Say Madison West, Madison Memorial. Those are both Big Eight teams. Then you got a couple Badger Conference teams in Sauk Prairie and Monona. Then you got the longer travelers in Ashland and Marshfield.
Okay. Also over in the Schwann Super Rank, the Herb Brooks Holiday Classic in the boys silver division. Eau Claire North is over there. And they
are
beat
playing
Marshall, I believe.
Did they? I mean, it started at 6:45, so it can't have ended that long ago.
Oh, they were ahead. They were. I think that one was being scored live.
That was the one that you said they were up 9.
They were up 9-1 at one point. Yeah, they were scoring that one live. So I think we can be pretty confident that Eau Claire North did beat Duluth Marshall.
Are you sure? I mean, 9-1 is pretty insurmountable, but that's what we said about 7-1, and Janesville still lost to Oregon. That's more fun when MJ's here.
Yeah. There's also Northern Edge playing in that tournament. But that's
a Minnesota
the boys
Northern
team,
Edge.
so it can't be the Northern Edge co-op from over here.
I looked that up. I said who that was, and I don't remember now. My college roommate Joe is a teacher at one of the two school districts that makes up the Northern Edge, and I can't for the life of me remember which one it was.
That wee little guy, Joe?
Yes.
Okay. And the other one we've got is the
JRM.
Joe Raymond Memorial.
That's it. JRM, Joe Raymond Memorial Classic at the Nagawaki Ice Rink in Delafield. Starts tomorrow, continues on Wednesday, wraps up on Thursday. Oregon versus Waukesha to kick things off. Fox Cities versus Janesville, KMMO versus Sun Prairie. Oh,
So it looks like that one is
it's
Yeah, it's a
six teams. So yeah, the first 2 rounds are set.
and then the Constellation 1, Constellation 2, and Championship are done on points.
Yes.
However, points are awarded.
Yeah. So on Wednesday, it's Sun Prairie versus Fox Cities, Waukesha versus Janesville, and Oregon versus KMMO. So those are your brackets within the point thing. And yeah.
Well, let's just hope that 2 teams go 2-0, 2 teams go 1-1, and 2 teams go 0-2, so that there are no weird tiebreakers to deal with.
And then Fond du Lac was actually playing in a tournament over in Michigan this evening. They lost their first round game in overtime, 7-6. But that's another one we don't happen to have a bracket for. And they must not have live barn at that rink, because I could not find the student development complex on live barn.
It's kind of hard to find a rink that doesn't have live barn these days, so that's kind of an event.
So, but yeah, so Fond du Lac should be playing again tomorrow in that tournament, but who they're playing or at what time, I don't know.
And I was just looking, I'm like, where's Hudson in all this? It looks like Hudson's not playing in a holiday tournament.
Their game schedule is empty.
Yeah, they played Gentry Academy earlier this year there in Minnesota, and they're hosting them on Thursday, but then they don't have anything until January 4th. So it looks like they're just taking the break.
Well, as well as they've been playing the last couple of years, maybe they just think they've earned it. Let's just give everybody the week off between Christmas and New Year's and relax.
I don't know if they still do. But Wausau West always had it wasn't for the holidays, but they had a break for a good chunk of December. Like there was like a 10-day stretch in December where Wausau West didn't play games. I think it was around it was a school thing. They had a lot going on, and there was like a 10-day stretch in December, but there's just a big gap in their schedule every year. It doesn't look like they're doing that anymore.
University school always did that too. They have finals in December, and they would not schedule any games.
Obviously, that doesn't apply when Hudson School District is closed for the holiday break, but anytime if you can take a break, it's worth doing. Plus, then you get to just beat them up in practice.
University school, again, took off. I mean, they played December 7th and not again until December 21st. So that 2-week span is most likely when they had finals.
Yeah.
I just happened to look on Twitter and I see Fondy Hockey said, that they had a tough loss, but what a great place to play at the MAC. So I don't know what the MAC is over in Michigan.
Well, let's see, you keep saying, yeah, it's either over in Michigan or up in Michigan. They're playing up in Michigan in the UP. Over would be, the lower peninsula.
Well, to me, it's over in Michigan.
So they're in the mitten?
East of me.
No, they're in the UP or you're in the mitten?
Yeah, they're in the UP, I believe.
Is that where Houghton is?
Yes.
Okay,
I've been to
that's where they're at. They're up in Michigan.
There you go.
So
yeah, we played Houghton fairly regularly in youth hockey.
Was your drive home better than your drive away from last week?
My drive away was really only bad for an hour and a half. It was raining and 22 degrees, which is not something you see that often. My car looked hilarious when I stopped at the rest area in Menomonie. Like the hood was just more than a quarter of an inch just thick ice. And then my windshield, like where the wipers don't hit, was all ice. Because it was raining and it was freezing as soon as it hit the car. It was just ice everywhere. And then by the time I crossed the Twin Cities, all the ice was off my car. I'm sure it was flying off at cars behind me as I was going down the highway. But the roads were clear after that. Today, the roads were clear the whole way back. So my 7-hour drive from South Dakota.
I didn't know for sure where you had gone. I knew it had been towards the west somewhere. So
Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls.
Kids can see their other grandparents.
I don't have anything else to offer tonight. Bill?
I believe you made a post today about the Hobie Baker.
Yes, I did. The email we received from Jim Hayes, we took that and we put the information out so that if coaches for some reason aren't receiving the email, at least it's out there on our website for the information. And
Yes.
I believe it's February 6th that they have to have everything turned in by. Is that?
And it's really easy. You just name of the school, their mascot, the name of the hockey coach, a mailing address, a phone number, and the name of the player. That's all you need for your ballot.
Well, what I liked was in the email that Jim sent out, it said 21-22 high school character award, Wisconsin #1. So I believe he's telling us that, Wisconsin actually recognizes more players than any of the other states that are involved in it. But,
So, yeah.
it's like we've said before, over the past few years, there's really no reason that if you have seniors on your team, you shouldn't have somebody that's able to be recognized for this.
Take that, Minnesota. We do something better than you.
Yeah, and Trasher would always harass. I mean, Wisconsin has one of the highest percents of, teams nominated player, but Trasher always wanted us to go for that 100%. So somebody's gonna have to take up that mantra, 100%.
Seriously, there's it's an 8-line ballot. You don't even have to justify it. You just need a senior. I think it's seniors, right?
Seniors only, yes.
Unless your seniors are all knuckleheads, it's real easy. And nobody's seniors are all knuckleheads.
All right. I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover tonight. I'll be hitting up tournaments starting tomorrow.
Burglar, be safe while driving.
Yeah, I mean the snow is not going to come till later, so.
Now the championship game is it's not that late.
The
of your tournament.
championship game is at 3:00.
It's at 3, so it'll be done by 5. You can head down to Eau Claire, go to Manny's, and then come home.
Oh.
I mean, you didn't want to do it on Tuesday when there was games.
I guess I didn't look at what that actual schedule. Yeah, there's not going to be time tomorrow.
But on Wednesday, you could definitely go to Manny's.
All right.
For those unaware, Manny's in Eau Claire is Burglar's favorite restaurant in Wisconsin.
Mexican seafood restaurant. There's also one in La Crosse.
So
If
is
you
it
live in
true
La
they named
Crosse
the
area,
dish
you
after
probably
you?
know of it. Huh?
Is it true they named a dish after you?
I don't think so.
Oh.
He hasn't
Free
been there that
advertisement
much.
here, they ought to get a dish, right?
Well, actually, I think they had one named after you. Because the first time I went there, I had a burrito del mar.
Ouch. That's such a dad joke.
That's what it was called. Anyway, that's it for this special holiday edition of This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey. We'll get back next week to our regularly scheduled programming. Until then, drive safe and keep your stick on the ice.
See you all next year.